Hey, Boaz here with Next Pittsburgh. I'm here at the Braddock Carnegie Library, which, as you can tell, is going under some pretty serious renovations. I'm here with Vicky, who's the executive director. And so, when was this building built?
1889 it was dedicated.
So it was maybe time for a big overhaul.
Oh, definitely, yes. Not only that, the building had closed in 1974, so it was left vacant and nobody came down to monitor conditions here. So it was vandalized, subject to the elements. So it really was in disrepair and actually ended up on the borough's demolition list. But it was saved by a group of volunteers led by Dave Solomon. Their goal was to get the children's library open. So this room we're in now was opened first as a children's library, heated by kerosene heat.
Wow.
So yeah, talk about Little House on the Prairie. So then the idea was just start renovating as we expand into the building. So talked to Eden Hall Foundation and they suggested get the building done totally.
Wow.
They helped sponsor a building master plan. And from there, the rest is history. It was start raising money. We started construction in 22, and here we are 3 years later, chomping at the bit to open up.
Yeah.
So,
Well, let's take a look at what you've done so far. So this is essentially the lobby, the entrance area.
this circulation desk is not finished yet, but this is where people will come in. They'll be greeted by staff. And then from there, you can go into the adult library.
And I'm guessing some of these details that we're seeing are original, like those cool columns with those flowers.
Yes. And I think what's even more interesting, these rooms here used to be the billiards hall.
Really?
So,
There was a billiards hall in the library?
yes, yes. Yes, because it was important not only to be book schooled, but also to have entertainment, to be clean, to be exposed to the arts and culture. So,
Is all this shelving over here original?
yes, it is. They were double-sided bookcases, and we had a local woodworker. He took them apart and just made them one-sided. This is what the bookcases looked like. They were double-sided, and they're huge. They're very hard to move around.
Yeah.
And our goal with this building master plan was to be able to be accessible, adaptable, and sustainable. So, as you can see, a lot of our bookcases are movable. Most of the furniture that we got is movable so that if we want to have something here, yes, we can move it around easily. This area here will be our alternative lending. There were three young ladies who worked for us who had an art collective called Transformasium. They were asked to be part of the international with their art lending library. So just like a book, you can borrow a piece of art. That was so well accepted that we then expanded to Cheryl Capizuti's puppets, lawn tools like weed whackers. The big item is tables and chairs. So yeah, we have all of those things, and that will be this portion of the adult library. This is Anna Graves. She's our operations manager, and she's going to join us on the tour.
It seems like we're heading into the belly of the beast here. There's a lot happening.
So yes, we won't be able to go all the way in, but we can take a sneak peek. The room straight ahead is the former swimming pool.
There
And
was a swimming pool in here?
yes, so just a little backup history. When Carnegie built this building, he then added on music hall, gymnasium, swimming pool, bathhouse. What else?
No pickleball courts.
No pickleball course. So this was the swimming pool, which suffered a lot of damage during the time that the building was closed. We've turned it into the book dive.
Oh, wow. So in some ways, you sort of kept the form of the pool.
Yes, exactly.
How will this space be used? Will there be like couches and chairs?
So if somebody wants to have some type of event, that can be part of it. It will also be used internally for programs. Then it'll be a place where people can just go in and read the newspaper. Hopefully we'll be able to offer some types of refreshments.
So you can have a coffee and read a book.
Yeah, yeah.
And this will be one of the sort of backstage areas of the library.
Yeah, this will be the staff kitchen primarily, but you can see some of the original stonework here from 1889 or 1893, I guess.
Wow. And there's just chunks of wood like wedged in there too.
Someone from the construction team said you could tell that they just sort of used whatever they could to just stick in. There was no uniformity in the stones that they used, and
It's like 130-ish years later, they're still standing.
yeah, 136.
And so now we're heading into the music hall part of things.
So we really can't go beyond this point because they're laying carpet and they're doing all kinds of work. But you can see they have the new seats installed and the stage was extended.
So did they redo all this molding in here?
No, that was done probably the first renovation probably in 2000s.
Do you have any records of like people coming here to see like vaudeville or something back in the day? Like that kind of stuff must have been happening, right?
When the building was closed, a lot of things were destroyed or damaged, stolen. So we have very little in the way of records showing that kind of thing, except for diseases. We do have record. Yeah, it was odd. At that time, the library kept records of what families had diseases, like the influenza outbreak. So they had records of that, so that anybody in their family who had borrowed materials that had to be cleaned or burned or whatever to stop the spread of disease.
That sounds so wild, but during coronavirus, I think it was the state said that everything that had been checked out had to then be set aside for 3 days, was it? And just nobody touched it, and then we could reshelve it. So it's like history kind of repeated itself a little bit.
So right now we're above the music hall.
Yes.
Well, let's climb up here now. I'm sort of curious. There used to be a chandelier that went missing at one point.
Right, that was in a large chandelier in the music hall. When the building was closed and vacant, things that were in the building were lost. And I think, yeah, it hung from here.
And so this seems like the winch system, which you'd, lift it up and drop it down?
To clean it, you would lower it. So, otherwise you'd have to build scaffolding. So that was a way to lower the chandelier.
But this is our children's library. Some of our books shelves were delivered last week, and so you can see we trying to get everything ready for next week.
And so this is the first Carnegie Library. I mean, there's so many now, but this is it.
In the United States.
Was there another one abroad?
Scotland, in his hometown, yes.
And there's a gym in here. I did not expect that. Wow. Is this what this used to be? Was this always a basketball court?
It was always a gymnasium. This actually was built before basketball was invented. So it was not originally a basketball court. It was originally, gymnastics equipment, pommel horse. And then behind is where the boxing gym was originally. So
What's in that space now?
our Fab Lab.
So this is where the boxing gym was, and if you look up on the ceiling, you can see the fixtures for the punching bag.
And now this is sort of a maker space?
Yes, it's the Fab Lab, and things that happen here are print shop, screen printing, sewing.
Laser etcher, Cricut.
Oh, wow. We're like in an attic space.
This is being preserved how it is mostly because of this beam, but you can also see some of the old gymnastics equipment is on the floor there, and I think that's part of a piece of equipment that was used to bind books because there was a book bindery up here.
And this is a piano over here?
Yeah, it's a broken player piano that is just hanging out here. This room is one of the most transformed spaces because there was a broken window and pigeons had come in to sort of roost. The floor was gone. Yeah, it was just, they had to come in with like hazmat suits to clear it all out. And now it's like the lightest, most gorgeous.
And now we're underneath it all. We're here in the basement.
This is where the boiler was. It's the perfect place for a ceramic studio.
So where was the bathhouse?
In here. So you can see the marks on the wall where the shower stalls were. So they were on either side, and then they had heaters on the ceiling. So really this was, I guess, pretty much like a luxury to come here, have hot water, to have heat.
People might not have had running water or maybe not hot water at home.
Yeah, my neighbor used to tell us they had a pump outside because it was a square. So all the apartments went out and used that pump. So that's how they would get their water, take it in, heat it up. Yeah, that's quite a lot of work. No wonder people didn't take showers.
So anyone in the community could come and pay a fee and use the baths here.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness, where are we now?
This is the tunnel from, that's Maple Way. And originally this just came all the way up to that other door. And that's how the mill workers would come in to take a bath or a shower.
So earlier you'd asked whether we discovered anything in the building, and this was not a discovery that we were unaware of, but the location was something we discovered, which is there was a gas well that Carnegie used to supply the building with gas. We had to get the EPA involved and do all these things to make sure that it was safe, which it is, and it's now all vented. But if you would like to look, you can see our very own gas well.
Like it's pulling gas up from underneath the earth. Oh my gosh, it's a pretty deep hole in here. That's wild. So can you still use this gas?
We have no interest in trying to do that.
So this library is very representative of the community that we serve. Braddock has been through bad times, good times, and bad times again. This library is the one thing that has remained in the community and is still operating and plans to operate well into the future. We still have lots more to do. We still have lots more funding to raise. We need to be sustainable. So, we are definitely welcoming any donations. So,
Yeah, well, thank you so much for the tour, Vicki, and good luck with the last finishing touches.
thank you. Thank you for coming out.